minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. Minus 5 minutes. minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Well, we are at it. Happy Good Friday, everybody. If that's the proper thing to say. Thanks for making this part of your day. Welcome to the RP Show. Glad to have you aboard here in Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show on a Friday. So, yeah, there'll be a lot of football, but more than anything, as we get ready to welcome our good friend Kevin the Medium from the Hughes Sports Podcast. He's a medium. He speaks to dead people. Kevin the Medium going to be with us. Mike Davis coming up in hour 2 from the Vegas Nighthawks, the 1-1 Vegas Nighthawks of the Indoor Football League. And my good friend Rob Swallow, author, joining us in hour 2 as well. Kev, hey, I know you observe and celebrate. Happy Good Friday to you, my good friend. Are you ready to talk some sports today?
I am, and happy Good Friday to you. It was funny when we were getting ready to come on air. I'm like, do I say Happy Good Friday? Is that a? I don't like. Yeah, Happy Good Friday. Let's celebrate.
We observe. Yes, exactly. And listen, let's get down to it. We're not going to take ourselves too seriously here. I think I've told all the viewers all week. I've been ready for the weekend since Monday. It's now here. So let's have some fun. And we got different big stories. I like to open with a big story. I'm going to open with a big story in my world, and then you can talk about whatever the big story is in your world. And let me call up my script here, Kev. Point 1, the big story. Golfer Tiger Woods appears to have called President Donald Trump after his rollover crash in Florida last week, according to body camera footage obtained by multiple news outlets. Stop. That's the big story in my world because I live here. And that happened 30 miles up the road from me. And this morning, just so you know, on sports radio here in South Florida, it was, since this news came out, the hosts are like, what was contained in that phone call? And people are, I want to put this out there right now for all and sundry. They're laughing. They think it's funny. None of this is funny. These are people. Tiger Woods is going away to rehab. Tiger Woods is dating Donald Trump Jr.'s ex-wife. So one of the things people were saying on the radio here this morning was maybe he was calling Donald Trump saying, hey, your grandkids are safe. They weren't with me. Like, they're people. They're people. And people are asking my thoughts about it, and Tiger Woods and Trump, and how could this happen? That's what's going on in my world as we go into the weekend. What did you think when you saw the Tiger Woods' first call was to the President of the United States of America when he rolled his SUV last Thursday?
My first initial reaction was fake news. I didn't believe it. I saw it. I was busy yesterday driving down from Calgary back home here, and I didn't believe it. And it wasn't until you and I talked this morning and you brought it up, and I went, holy crap, that's actually true. Given if like he could have called the president of Coca-Cola, the president of Nike, his coach, and it wouldn't have been such a huge story. What was that conversation? I would love to know. And it could be as innocent as, like you said, hey, your grandkids weren't with me. I would appreciate that call. I have my grandkids showing up in a couple hours here for Easter. I would love that call. So if that's the call, good on you, Tiger. Like, don't jump. Let's not jump to conclusions and say, oh my gosh, he was asking for a pardon.
Well, it's right. That's the last thing that I thought, but it's all over the news everywhere here in the news, let alone the people that are calling me. I just want to point this out here. Just so Kevin knows this, because Kevin and I talk almost every day. You get this. Here's the thing. People look at Florida. They go, 32 million people. It's almost the size of Canada. Huge place. It's not that big. It's really not that big, especially in the sports community. And when you think about Matthew Tkachuk at the White House with the president, walking through the Rose Garden, celebrating the Stanley Cup. I'm around Matthew Tkachuk almost every day. I was around him last night. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's tied in, and people are like, oh, hey, well, Rod, you're not connected to Tiger. Oh, just yesterday, I got dropped off passes, bracelets, Tiger Woods apparel for the Tiger Woods golf event next month up in Jupiter. So I'm going to be there. So it's like, it's all really, and I hope, frankly, that it all comes together and has a very positive ending for Tiger and all the rest. And I'm not going to get into his recovery road and all that. But I think the main thing here is they're people. People don't understand. They're people too. That's it. Yeah.
If we had that kind of spotlight, that microscope on our lives, anybody listening had that type of spotlight, there'd be skeletons in your closet, and you would do things on a regular everyday that probably your parents wouldn't be proud of. So I take the approach now that, you know what? They're just people. They put their pants on one leg at a time, just like you and I, and stuff happens. Well, let's give them a break. And hopefully, as you said, everything turns out. And I'm hoping that he gets the help he needs, because obviously he does need some kind of recovery.
Yeah, everybody thought it was great. It's not great. It's not great. So anyways, that's my big story. We got a couple minutes left for yours. Hopefully we can fit it in. You went to a very big hockey game you were excited about this week in the Saddle Dome.
Yeah. You know what? We bought tickets. It's Angela's daughter's birthday this month, later in the month, but she's a big hockey fan. So we bought tickets up in Calgary for the PWHL, the Ottawa Charge against the Toronto Scepters. And to be honest, I had never seen a game. And I was like, cool, I'll go. I mean, why not? And we ended up going to practice and getting some autographs. We won't talk about that. But then I would get ready to go to the game, and I'm like, we don't need to be there that early. It's not going to be that big of a crowd. We took an Uber from our Airbnb down, and it blew me away. It was like, what else is happening here? Why is there so much traffic? There was 16,154 people at that game, and it was lit. Like, the excitement. The cool part for me, of those 16,154 people, I bet you more than 10,000 of them were under the age of 15. And of that, I bet you 80% was female. And you could see the look in these young girls' eyes where they were like, they were amazed. They were excited. Angela's daughter is, I'm not even sure how, I think she's 30. And she made a statement that stuck with me. She said, if this league would have been around when I was 14, 13, I might have tried harder playing hockey because I could have seen a future. And it hit me and I went, whoa, every little boy knows there's a opportunity to play in the NHL. Very few will make it, but there's that opportunity. How many ladies didn't have that opportunity or couldn't even think of that opportunity? It blew me away. It put it into perspective for me for whole women's sports in general.
Well, I love that you had such a great time at the PWHL game at the Saddle Dome, and those are the big stories in our world. We'll tackle all the rest when we come back on this Good Friday edition of the RP Show, everybody. We got a lot of, I knew that there would be a lot of comments come in on our big stories, and we'll get to those. We have our UFL picks too. Week 2 is at hand. We'll be right back on Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
Welcome back to the RP show, where if you don't like what we're talking about, wait a couple minutes. We'll be talking about something else. And the Quick Six, the warm-up, brought to you by our friends Neil Chark and Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the official travel partner of the RP show, and the BC Lions. Calling all Canadian sports fans, join Uniglobe Carefree's own Neil Chark for an action-packed weekend in Toronto, August 14th to the 17th. 2 major baseball games, Toronto and New York, a Canadian pro football game, Saskatchewan and Hamilton. It's an easy, fun, and stress-free way to experience the best of Canadian sports all in one unforgettable weekend. Connect with Neil at uniglobecarefreetravel.com. Okay, Kevin the Medium is with us from the Hughes Sports Podcast. As I dabble just briefly in the NHL, Kev, point 2 of the Quick Six show topics here. Toronto Maple Leafs officially eliminated from the playoffs. We knew that was going to happen by losing to the San Jose Sharks 4-1. The Calgary Flames fell 6-3 to the Vegas Golden Knights. I was 12 of 14 on my picks. We're in the money. Where's the NHL rating and your rating? Yeah, go ahead.
Too bad you didn't actually bet money on that. You could be rich.
I could make a living at it, but it's okay. I don't want to end up in a park with a gun in my mouth, and me not holding the gun. I'm totally fine with not betting. But the fun thing here, before we do turn this to football on a Football Friday, is hockey related. I don't know if you're following all the fallout of the latest edition of the Tkachuk's podcast, Wingmen, where they brought their dad on and he trashed his kids' teammates, Keith Tkachuk, and the coach of the Senators had to address it yesterday, Travis Green, and Brady did himself. The poll question today is brought to you by our friends at Country Thunder. It's simply, should the Tkachuks have a podcast? And I'll read the liner from Country Thunder a little later on. Should the Canucks have a podcast? You got a podcast, Kev? I got a podcast. Everybody's got a podcast. Why shouldn't they have a podcast? Yes or no? What are you voting?
Yes, we need more of this in sports. We need characters. I miss characters in sports. You go back in the day when you had the characters of Tiger Williams, the Theo Fleury's, that weren't afraid of saying what they thought. Now everybody's media trained, and yeah, it was a good game. We need to try harder and work more like a team. That's the actual interview nowadays. Give the Tkachuks a live mic. It's going to be fun.
What's the worst that could happen? 75% of respondents are saying, yeah, I voted yes. Kev's obviously voting yes. But it's no different. Listen, give me a little credit, not you, but everybody else. Give me a little credit of a guy that's dedicated my life to this media horrible industry. Everybody's so soft now. You know that it's going to offend somebody. Everybody's offended all the time. It doesn't matter whether it's the Tkachuks or whoever. But when I started my blog in 2006, I'll say it right now, it was the Rough Riders PR guy that said, you shouldn't have a blog. You of all people shouldn't have a blog. What does that even mean? I don't understand. But it took me years to understand. We can't control you. So you shouldn't have a blog. And it's the same as the Tkachuks. We can't control the Tkachuks. Therefore, they shouldn't have a podcast. Yet they still do. So you're realizing this now, right? Since you've got into the media world.
Well, it's that whole... And I think you said it. They can't keep you under their thumb. So, and it's so much easier now to anybody to grab a microphone and say, okay, I have my own podcast now. Let's do it. And I think more players should. Can you imagine the fun if, think back, I'm being a Canuck fan. I would love to have seen the Sedins have a podcast. Come on. That would have been awesome. Right? Mm-hmm. BXA, they had a podcast. It was awesome. I missed that podcast. I wish they'd go back and do it again. But yeah. CBC said no.
Yeah, well, but they always do. So we'll see how long the Tkachuk podcast lasts. But I mean, that's why, listen, if I can't say what I want, I don't want to do this. Period. Right? We're not saying anything wrong here. We're not making anybody look bad. And quite frankly, as I said to you on this morning, I just want to be positive. I stood beside Sergei Bobrovsky yesterday, and he said, I'm living the dream. I'm a starting goalie in the NHL playing for the Florida Panthers. You went there with the $10 million a year that he's getting. I'm like, he would play for free. I just want to be like Bob. I just want to live the dream and do this. And when it's not fun, I won't do it anymore. but I'm not going to let anybody not make it fun. Anyways, the poll question is brought to you by Country Thunder. Get ready for one of the biggest parties of the summer. Country Thunder returns to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th. We might even get Kev there. Featuring Lainey Wilson, Riley Green, and Creed, plus an incredible lineup, including the Dead South, Gavin Adcock, Cameron Whitcomb, and more. Don't miss out. Get your tickets now at countrythunder.com/SK. Okay. Somebody said I was blowing into the wrong end of this thing. I'm like, how would I even know? And who cares? Get a life. Number 3, point 3. It's week 2 of the United Football League, and I'm just going to tell you who won the picks last week for Pump Jack's Cathedral, Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon. Me. I beat you 3-2. Were you paying attention? Did you write it down?
I did. I went 2 for 4. You went 3 for 4. Dang.
I don't know what I get for that. Maybe free lunch at Pump Jack's because they sponsor our picks every week of the United Football League. So, hey, you've done a little research, I understand, on the UFL. If you've done 2 seconds of it, you've done more than me. Have you done some research?
I did go down the rabbit hole a little bit. Not a whole lot. I'm competitive, so when we do these pick'ems, I want to win. I'm like I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm very competitive.
Mm-hmm. That's a good thing. Well, so when you said you did, I'm writing down the games. I have it on my computer, but I don't have it on my notebook in terms of what we're going to do here. So, and I should slip in.
I got it written down.
You have it written down too? Okay. Okay. I'll get to the comments a little later on. Vancouver Eric writes in, he goes, RP has UFL insiders. Don't tell anybody my secrets. I don't know any more than anybody else. Yeah, so I know some of the coaches in the league. So what? If that was the case, I would win every pool. I would be a billionaire betting. That's got nothing to do with anything. Nobody knows. But I'll say, did you watch any of the games last week in week 1 of the UFL?
No, I didn't. I was up in Calgary running around like a chicken with no head. So no, I did not.
Okay. Well, let me tell you about my weekend in New York real briefly. It was, as we Floridians say, it was damn cold in New York. It was like -1. And there was a friend, Celsius, and there was a friend of mine by the name of Randy Tappan. He's a former military guy. He's here. He's from Fort Lauderdale, but he was up in New York. And I said to him, what are you going to do this weekend? Are you going to get a look around? He's like, no, it's cold. Hell no. We've got pizza and stayed in the hotel room and watched UFL. And it was on ESPN. So here's my point. So I turned it on. I talked about this on Monday. First play I saw was an interception. And we kicked this around a little bit on Monday. The play was sloppy. And I'm not going to judge week 1 and say the whole league's sloppy. That's usually the way that it goes. But the uniforms look great. Very professional logoing. That was all fantastic. And as Kev said, I beat him 3-2 in the pick. So here we go. Tonight, it's DC at Columbus. I guess we'll start right there. Who do you like to win this game, Kev? DC or Columbus?
I'm taking DC.
Okay, well, that's easy. Then I'll take Columbus. Only for no other reason than you're taking the other team. And then on Saturday, Louisville at Orlando. Let me guess. You're going to take Orlando.
I'm taking the Storm. And again, I think that's going to be my team because of the name Storm. And Airdrie, shout out to the Airdrie Storm.
Well, I'll take Louisville, and I'm pretty sure their coach is not A.J. McCarron, the former Alabama. I'm not totally sure. I'll take Louisville. What I know is Corey Chamberlain is the defensive coordinator of the St. Louis Battlehawks, and they won last week. And I'm in a bit of a conundrum. I'm always going to take Chaim's team, so I'll take St. Louis to win this week. But they're at Dallas, and I always pick the Dallas teams because I'm a Cowboys fan. I was a Stars fan for 26 years, but I can't this week because they're playing Chaim's St. Louis Battlehawks. So I don't know. Who are you taking?
I'm taking the Battlehawks.
Oh, you are too? Well, that's no fun. Okay.
I know.
And Birmingham at Houston.
Taking the Stallions.
That's Birmingham? I haven't quite got that figured out yet.
let me look at my phone here. Is that Birmingham?
It has to be. It has to be the Birmingham. because I think it's
Yes.
the Houston Roughnecks. Where are the UFL fans? Write in and tell us. But Kevin's taking Birmingham, which means I will take Houston. So the picks are brought to you by Pump Jacks. Here, so you weren't breaking your ankle to get to a television to watch the UFL, but might you this weekend since you're not running around like a chicken with your head cut off?
You know, Rod, I had thought about it, and then my love Angela reminded me, yo, dude, we have 17 people here for Easter. There will be no football. And I went, oh, okay.
And she's a football fan. How about, well,
yes.
To be honest, no. She's not a football fan. She's a Rider fan. There's a difference. Oh, man, we're on the same page. This is weird. Dude. What do you see? He's a medium. I'm an extra large. And thank you, by the way, to Mark from the Whole Life clothing brand here in Florida who dropped off some shirts. Pardon me, I'm still getting over this cold that I picked up in New York. What did I tell you about it being cold up there? I won't be traveling for a while anytime soon.
It's the airplane, Rob. I swear it's the airplane. Anytime I get in an airplane, I get a cold. Guaranteed.
Oh, my God. It didn't take long either, by the way. I jumped on the flight. I'll tell anybody this. I'm going to help you out for free here. If you're not using AI, you should. I'm not joking. I'm very rarely serious as Kevin is, but I'm serious here now. I just typed into ChatGPT, how are the security lineups at Fort Lauderdale Airport? And then that was on the Friday. And then on the Sunday, how are security lineups at LaGuardia in New York? In both cases, they're like, depending on the time of day, 5 to 10 minutes, at maximum 20 minutes. But it's there. It's right there, AI. Because I don't know how they do it, but they nailed it. And again, our U.S.
Do you care?
No, I don't care because they were correct.
Yes.
In this instance, they were correct. Yeah. By the way, from the audience, Vancouver Eric writes in and says, all week one football is sloppy, no matter what. I knew that. It wasn't going to make me change the channel is my point. I'm expecting it'll be better this week. BW from Edmonton writes in, says his picks are DC, Orlando, St. Louis, Houston. He also says the Roughnecks name is gone. It's the Gamblers. Okay, the Houston Gamblers. I'm still taking Houston, which, by the way, I found out through my insiders. The NBA team name in Las Vegas, should they get a team, we're not guaranteed to be, but there's a very good chance it'll be called the Jacks. How do you feel about that?
I don't mind that.
Mm-hmm. The inference being blackjacks, because I didn't think there would be any gambling connotation whatsoever. But I guess if it's the Las Vegas Jacks, everybody clearly can live with that. Well, that would be subject to NBA owner approval. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta writes in, he says, the uninterested football league, the UFL. Well, you don't like Tiger, Tony, and you don't like the UFL. What do you like today, Tony? Tony, what's making you happy today? Can you let us know?
Something better.
Yeah, because not into the UFL, no sympathy for Tiger, which is totally, you're right. It's a free country. But what are you into, Tony? Let us know. When we come back, we do have some NFL stuff to get to. The Blue Jays are on the road after being stormed out, snowed out, whatever you want to say in Chicago. We'll be back in a moment. Jeff, the Stamps fans jumping on this too. So we will be back in a moment. You're watching the RP show. I should tell you, Mike Davis of the Vegas Nighthawks coming up in hour 2, as long with my good friend Rob Swallow, a children's book author. He's got a new book out, and that's very exciting. He'll be joining us to talk about that. And my Panthers having their way with his Bruins last night here in Sunrise. So we have lots to get to. We will be right back on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube Live podcast, and WQVZ.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody, on a Football Friday and Good Friday. It is. We've gone through our UFL picks, brought to you by Pump Jack Steakhouse and Saloon. Come early, stay late, at the place where friends meet. Oddly enough, where's my bell? We are not the only channel talking about the UFL. ESPN is literally like every day. They air the games, of course. I think they might have ownership in the league. Kevin the Medium joining us here from the Hughes Sports podcast. Listen, everybody, I know a lot of people aren't at work today. It's Good Friday. For those that are in Canada, you're inundated with NHL talk. So we're trying to give you a break from that. Maybe you don't want a break from that. I'm not sure. Here in the States, you're inundated with March Madness talk, which I'm not really into. It's down to the Final Four. But Kev, I'm trying to, and you know this because we talk all the time, I'm trying to kind of stay off my phone because it's so crazy out there right now. I'm not enjoying what I'm seeing on social media and all the crap that's being slung back and forth. And because of that, I'm not seeing a lot of hype about March Madness. I'm just not seeing. I'm trying to keep it positive, but people are writing in here, crapping on the UFL, crapping on this. I mean, Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in, and he's the biggest CFL fan I know, literally. He goes, CFL training camps are 5 weeks away. When are the announcements on a new website and TC deal? I don't even know what TC means. What does he mean by TC deal? You don't know?
I saw that comment too, and I was going to ask. I have no idea. TC, I have no clue. I have intentionally stayed away from Hughes over the last 2 weeks just because it was bringing me down. I find myself, I wake up in the morning with a smile on my face because I haven't paid attention to the news for 2 weeks. It's the world is not a happy place right now. If you let it, it'll tear you down. Smile once in a while. Pay attention to sports. Look at the Blue Jays. I've actually watched 3 of the games. I think I've watched 3 of the Blue Jay games, and how great are they? Watch the players. I don't pay attention to stats. I look at the players on the bench in the dugout. They're having fun. They're playing a game for millions and millions of dollars, and they're having fun.
Thank you, Kevin the Medium, for turning the frowns upside down, which, by the way, I don't know if your ears were ringing earlier in the week. I said to all you people that say that you're going to follow, that said going into the season you're going to follow the Blue Jays, are you still? And you said that you are. I was kind of alluding to you. I didn't name you by name. A lot of these viewers that are tuned in right now know that. And I said it's a commitment. A lot of people say they're going to follow the Blue Jays specifically. I'm not talking about any other leagues. The NHL, there's a lot of games there too, but nothing like the Blue Jays or MLB where they play every single day, which, by the way, I'll skip to point 5 of the Quick 6 show topics because I had it in there. Dylan Cease is on the mound as the Toronto Blue Jays open a 3-game road series against the Chicago White Sox tonight. The Jays have a 4-2 record to begin the season after hosting the Athletics and Colorado Rockies at Rogers Center this year. Cease struck out 12 batters with 1 earned run in his Toronto debut last week. And it was him that said, Dylan Cease said, that the atmosphere at Rogers Center is rocking and that it affects positively the team's performance. Wasn't it Cease that said that? Are you following all that?
Yeah, I think it was. I believe you're correct. It was. And I mean, all you had to do was watch that opening game. And I remember thinking, man, just get on with the game. But then I got into that opening ceremony and you could feel the excitement through the TV. It's going to be a fun year to be a Blue Jay fan if they keep this up.
Well, I got a lot of things to stay on top of, as you know. That's why when the guy David number 1 from Winnipeg wrote in the other day and said, "Are you into the Artemis thing?" I'm like, "What is that? Artemi Panarin? What? Oh, they're going NASA? Not paying attention to that, bro. I got people trying to get me into golf, which reminds me, I had a guy this morning on the phone say to me, his name is actually Guy. He's like, you and all these other sportscasters, when you say you don't follow golf and you don't follow basketball, that makes you look bad. I'm like, I don't care. So it's just honest. I have as much to follow as I can. And the reason I say all that is last year, I've said this, I watched the last Jays game, spring training game in Dunedin at TD Ballpark. And you couldn't got another body in that place with a shoehorn. And I thought, wow, the Jays had just finished last place in the AL East the year before, right? So I'm like, there's something in here, Kev. You and I feel that stuff, right? And you said this year is going to be fun to be a Jays fan. Last year was fun to be a Jays fan because it was June, just prior to the All-Star break, that they turned it up. And we haven't barely even started this season. I totally get it, but I want to know what changed. I want to know what changed.
There's been a few additions to the players, but I think it's the chemistry. It's the Vladdy having fun, putting gum on people's helmets, pouring water over each other. You can see that dugout gets it. They are having fun playing a game they love. Simple as that. They're not. We're not talking the one I want to talk about. No, they're just having fun. And that, in any sport, when you see a player smiling and having fun, it changes everything. It's just a thing.
Yeah, and that's why I want to do that with this show. That's what I hear all the time. You guys are different. And the funny thing is most people can't put their finger on why. They can't put their finger on why. It's just you guys talk about everything. Well, right, and we have fun, but we're credible. We know what we're talking about, and that's what turns me on. I was saying to you this morning, like there are so many people purporting themselves as media. This is not old man shakes fist at cloud territory here. I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. I know you don't know what you're talking about. Why am I even following you? Unfollow, and so back, oh man, dude, what a great chat to have on a Good Friday. I wish you could stay after this break, but so many people were dumping on Vladdy when he was first coming to the league, because for all those reasons you just said, he was dancing in the dugout, the home run jacket they brought in and playing pranks, and everybody's like, this guy's not serious. He's not that. He never changed. No. He never changed. So that he's like the biggest reason is what you're saying, huh?
I think so. You watch that dugout and it's just, if you could bottle it, you'd be a trillionaire. And I don't say that lightly, because if you could actually take that and put it into any team, I'll pick on the Vancouver Canucks. If you could take that, go back to last year before everything blew up, would we still have the same team? Would the whole toxic dressing room scenario not have been there if people were putting gum on each other's helmet and pouring water over each other and smiling once in a while? My goodness, it would. I think just be different.
The main part of all that is, don't change if you are that vibe, yes. Because it's not just like, I look at what's going on in Ottawa with the Senators. It's disgusting what's coming out of there, and I don't really know who to believe. I've called my Ottawa media friends, and I know what's going on, but I'm like, if they're not going to say it on the air, I'm not going to say it on the air. Let's just put it this way: it ain't good. And the media is going to end up running Brady Tkachuk out of town and Linus Allmark too, and all. But it's not just a Canadian market thing. I look at the Cowboys; it ain't positive there. You don't see Dak Prescott smiling. You don't see CD Lamb smiling. It's a culture thing. And here in Florida, we say it all the time with Matthew Tkachuk, whether you like him or you don't. And people in Edmonton hate him. I don't blame you. I don't. Even Matthew Tkachuk knows why he's hated in Edmonton. But when he came here, he just flipped this team in terms of spirit and culture within 24 hours. And they're still riding it. He don't care if they don't like him at Edmonton or anywhere else. He didn't care. And clearly, nor does Vladdy. Sorry, go ahead.
It's funny that you say it, because I stopped into my old dealership when I was up in Calgary, and my manager said, "We really miss your positivity around here." And I chuckled and I said, "Yet I drove you nuts when I was here, because I was always laughing and smiling and having fun, and that drove you crazy. Now you miss it."
Well,
if you can put a smile on somebody's face, do it.
I had a guy with the Calgary Stampeders say that to me. You probably know who. You might have been there a couple of years ago at Grey Eagle. He's like, I miss you in the CFL. And I'm like, oh, you might, but maybe tell the guys that ran me out of the league. Tell them, because the spirit's still here, which is something that the league might be missing a little bit right now. So I guess basically be careful who you run out of town. Not that you were run out of the dealership. You left on your own, as I know. But anyways, Kev, enjoy the reason for the season. Good Friday.
Thank you.
Observe. I know you will. Say hi to the lovely Angela. We'll be right back, everybody.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the RP Show on a Football Friday. I haven't even, until now, opened up the text line for Western Dodge. We're going to get to that right away. 902-518-3033 is the number to reach us there. Are you ready for a new ride? Head to Western Dodge, where the deals are real and the service is legendary. Welcome to the RP Show, where if you don't like what we're talking about, wait 2 minutes. We'll change it. What I'm enjoying on this Football Friday and Good Friday is all the people that are enjoying our talk about the United Football League. It's a Football Friday. What are we going to talk about? There ain't a whole lot. There's nothing going on in the CFL, very little going on in the NFL. The number one news item, because I subscribe for the service in the NFL today, is still Kirk Cousins signing with the Las Vegas Raiders. Big news yesterday. Nothing going on today. As far as the UFL goes, Kev and I made our picks. We have them presented by Pump Jacks. If you're looking for a great lunch spot, supper spot, might I suggest, if you have the means, Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn. We'll talk about the UFL on Friday. But if you think I'm going to talk about the UFL Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you think I got a death wish? No. We're not going to do that. BW from Edmonton writes in and he says, I pay attention to baseball in July. Been burnt by the Jays too many times in springtime. Oh, okay. My mind just went bing, bing, bing. Several places. They're talking about the Marlins here in South Florida because the Marlins are winning. The last I looked, I think their record's 5-1. So this morning, just stay with me. I don't care where you live. This is funny. I'm driving. Well, the Tiger Woods story is not funny at all. And we opened the show with that. I'll say it again for those that just tuned in. Everywhere I look, it's in the news. Everybody I know is talking about it. Not only that Tiger Woods rolled his car and he's going away to rehab and all that. That's not big news. The fact that the very first call he made, and the body cam footage was released from the sheriff's office yesterday, was to Donald Trump. So you follow this show enough, you get that. I love Joe Rose, the Dolphins color commentator, has the morning show on the radio. This morning on WQAM, which I have their people on my show, the Cats and Bolts podcast, regularly. They're going, what do you think that call was about? How do you think that went down? Tiger Woods to Donald Trump. They're like, Tiger, I don't need this right now. Would be like I think we would all guess that's probably what it was. So as I was saying earlier, I don't know about Vegas. I've never lived there. But here, I know everybody sees the names: Trump, Tiger Woods, Matthew Tkachuk, you name it. But they're people, and it's a community. And yeah, it's just, I'm trying to get my mind around it. To the UFL, Utah, Darren writes in, he says, UFL picks DC, Orlando, Birmingham, St. Louis. Well, by the way, what is that? I believe their website is theufl.com. I was on it earlier. I can't remember. Chris Dingman and I were working out in a hotel gym in Calgary talking about this very thing. Because Dinger did sports talk, if you can believe, in Tampa Bay for quite a few years after he was done playing for the Lightning. And he just said, I think people don't care where the sports talk's coming from as long as it's entertaining. And we dang sure are trying to be entertaining for you. So we got the UFL stuff. We've made our picks. I feel like we've done our UFL duty today, far more than any other show you're going to be watching today. The reason I bring that all up is next hour, we have joining us, here it is, Mike Davis from the Vegas Nighthawks Indoor Football League team. You've been on every Friday, and I'll be dropping this with Mike when he joins us next hour. But 3 weeks ago, if anybody was paying attention, Mike Davis said, I think the Raiders are going to sign Kirk Cousins. And I was just too lazy or had a brain fart, but I didn't have our staff turn that into a meme. Because if I had, Mike Davis would be looking like the Mel Kiper of the football world right now. I didn't. So he's sitting there in Vegas running his indoor football league team, and their website, their league website is goifl.com. And my God, I just love the names of the teams in that league. The Green Bay Blizzard are 2-0, including a victory over Vegas. Jacksonville Sharks, Orlando Pirates, the Tulsa Oilers, the Quad City Steamwheelers, the Iowa Barnstormers, the Arizona Rattlers, whom I feel we all know are first place in the Western Conference. Second place is the Vegas Nighthawks. The New Mexico Chupacabras. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. The Tucson Sugar Skulls. Which makes me think I should go back into the text line. Vintage Sasko writes in on this Good Friday. He says, hello, Father Rod and Full House Hughes. A shout out to Jesus. Some roller hockey highlights appeared on my feed magically. Holy fish. No blue lines. Fast pace. LFG. Oh, God's at work in this. And why is he bringing up roller hockey? I'll say it. And I don't know. All those people are watching the program from Roller Hockey International. I'm part of a group bringing the league back. They said, you say whatever you want. You're part of us. And it was that pro roller hockey league that played in NHL arenas, lasted for 6 seasons in the 90s, the Anaheim Bullfrogs, the Vancouver Voodoo. I can sit and talk about that league all day. I can. So you got your top tier leagues, NFL, NHL, MLB. And then you have these other leagues where you can actually afford to go to games. You know, you just have to decide where you're going to go or what you're going to watch. Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in, he says, by the way, Rod, I will watch whatever UFL games that are on my TV. I'm still a football fan after all. See, we had to make that distinction earlier. Kevin the Medium was on, and his gal Angela said, you're not to be watching football this weekend. We've got family here for Easter. Totally fine. But I said, she's not a football fan. She's a Rider fan. There is a difference. Just like you're a Leaf fan, but you're not a hockey fan. If that offends people, I don't care. Kirk in Toronto writes in, hey, Rod, it's 21 degrees Celsius on this beautiful Good Friday in the Big Smoke. I'll take a pass on the UFL. Oh, and I said Las Vegas Blackjacks, and it was poo-pooed because of the reference to gambling. Well, I'm just telling you, the proposed name is the Las Vegas Jacks, not Blackjacks. So what are we going to say? You're half right? And by the way, they haven't even awarded the team yet, nor named it. And if anybody wants to know what we were talking about, you're going to have to hit rewind on your feed or your PVR. Again, Mike Davis coming up next hour from the Vegas Nighthawks. Children's book author Rob Swallow to talk some hockey, some football, and whatever else comes to mind. Let's do a sports update, shall we? The Toronto Raptors look to rebound from back-to-back losses tonight in Memphis. Raptors visit the Grizzlies after falling 123-115 to the lowly Sacramento Kings on Wednesday. Toronto sits 7th in the East, tied for 6th with the Philadelphia 76ers at 42-34. Just 2 games in the NHL tonight. Philadelphia at the New York Islanders and the St. Louis Blues at the Anaheim Ducks. After 14 games last night, just 2 games tonight. I don't even need to open my social media to tell you that somebody's going to be whining about that. I don't feel like I'm missing anything at all, that I'm not on social media as much as I was. I just can't take it anymore. I can't take the bitching anymore. From the media, from the fans, from the players, I need a break. BW in Edmonton writes in, I'm just quoting, okay? Don't put it on me. He says, I see more about the Continental Football League lately than the Canadian Football League. Great job by the commish. Utah Darren writes in and says, Las Vegas Jacks goes hand in hand with the WNBA's Las Vegas Aces. I'm just supposing by saying that I don't think the NBA would want a gambling connotation to their team name, but what the hell do I know? I'm regularly told I don't know anything. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, did the Calgary Rads play at the Saddle Dome? I seem to remember the Max Bell Arena, but could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that they played in the Saddle Dome. We'll dig into this. We need to have another meeting. We need to have another, which back to that Tiger Woods thing in the sports community here. The last meeting we had with the RHI owners was at a place, was Wayne Gretzky's favorite dive restaurant in Jupiter, which is where Tiger rolled his car. So I'm kind of just sitting here going, what's going on? It ain't bad. It's just new. 902-518-3033 is the Western Dodge text line. By the way, pizza night, hockey night, Mad Greek Eatery is your place. As a matter of fact, whether it's pizza, ribs, authentic Greek favorites, it's good. It's good. Check out the Mad Greek Eatery tonight. Make it the Mad Greek Eatery tonight. Open until 11 p.m. Order online, pick up, or dine in at themadgreekeatery.com. Couple of guests on this Football Friday next hour when we go to Air Across Nevada. Mike Davis, our football insider. How about that? Broke the news of Kirk Cousins to the Raiders. He'll be joining us from the Vegas Nighthawks. And children's book author Rob Swallow to talk some sports and about his new book, Boo and the Boy. So load them up. Get your questions and comments in 902-518-3033 or the live YouTube feed. And we'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Well, here we are. Happy Good Friday, if that's appropriate. I think we've determined that it is appropriate. Remember the reason for the season, and welcome to the RP Show, everybody. Saying hello again to viewers on the Game Plus Television Network. It's hour 2 for them. And hello, a big howdy to our Nevada friends watching on Silver State Sports. You're going to love, well, you always love this show, but Mike Davis coming up in the next segment, our football insider. He broke the news almost unknowingly 3 weeks ago that the Raiders were going to sign Kirk Cousins, and lo and behold, on Thursday they did. And as we sit here 24 hours later-ish, that's still the biggest story in the National Football League. Mike Davis coming up next, the head coach and general manager of the Vegas Nighthawks. And I'm going to get into all of this stuff. We got way too much to cram into 15 tiny minutes in this segment. We'll try to get to it all today in this hour on Game Plus and Silver State Sports. But I should tell you this. I mean, I'm thinking about this too much. I don't know why, but there are worse things to think about. When we all first started going to Vegas, there wasn't a whole lot to do there sports-wise. There was just UNLV teams, and that's about it, and a AAA baseball team. And now all of a sudden, you got your Golden Knights, you got your Silver Knights. We had Jamie Heward on just yesterday. The Las Vegas Aces WNBA team. And reason I bring this all up is next Tuesday, the executive director of College Hockey Inc., Sean Hogan, he's been on the show many times, is going to be joining us in advance of the NCAA Frozen Four College Hockey National Championship, which will be played at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas next weekend. Going to get you all ready for this. That's what I'm saying. All of a sudden, it's become a sports town. And it never used to be a sports town. To me, that's pretty cool. So, quick 6 show topics. What we open up with every day is the big story. And it's big enough that I don't mind repeating it. We talked about it an hour ago, but it's new for the Nevada people. I'll read from the website thehill.com. Golfer Tiger Woods appears to have called President Donald J. Trump after his rollover crash in Florida last week, according to body camera footage obtained by multiple outlets. We can just stop right there. I don't need to read any more than that. To be perfectly honest, we went on to a lot of other topics pretty quickly last hour. Here, we could do the whole hour just on. Wait, what? Tiger Woods rolls his SUV, and as the police are responding, he calls the president. And it's not nearly as wild or crazy as you would think. Now, again, I live here in South Florida, so people are blowing up my phone with, what do you think? What do you know? Where's this going? I don't know. I don't even really, it's a sad story is what it is. And on WQAM radio this morning, the host, Joe Rose, you don't want to make light of other people's misfortunes, that's for sure. But this story is so outlandish. And basically, Joe Rose, who was the Dolphins tight end for 6 seasons, now does the color on the radio and hosts a morning radio show. He was just asking callers and his co-hosts, what do you think went into that phone call? And a lot of nincompoops' minds immediately went to the fact he was hoping Trump would get him out of it. And I don't think that's the case. He's dating Donald Trump Jr.'s ex-wife. Everybody knows that around here. It might have been as simple as, hey, Don, your grandkids, you're going to be hearing something. Your grandkids are fine. We'd like to think that's how it went down. But as I'm sitting here, that's just the biggest story, and it's everywhere in the news. That's why I asked Kevin, the medium, who hosted co-hosted with me last hour. I'm like, is it big in your world too? Which we'll get to what's big up there in Canada in a second. But I'll not that anybody cares, but it's the Rod Pedersen show, so I get to talk about whatever I want. Everybody thinks it's Florida, it's America, it's this huge country. Here, it's a small community. Donald Trump, Tiger Woods, Wayne Gretzky, obviously, we all know where that went. Matthew Tkachuk. I'm around Tkachuk every day. I was with him last night, right at the Panthers game. And then people are like, well, you're not connected to Tiger. Hang on. Just yesterday, I got dropped off clothing gear, Tiger Woods stuff, 2 passes to the Tiger Woods golf event, bracelets, courtesy Mark Gundry, the whole life. Going to be up there April 11th. It's all tying in. These are people. So more than anything, there were people writing in here saying, I don't have sympathy for Tiger. Somebody wrote in about him going away for treatment, which if I can morph the recovery world, because I am certified mental health and addiction recovery coach is what it is. Grief, trauma, stress management, all the rest. I don't understand why Tiger needs to go away out of country because he's a big deal. I would sit here and go, you're not that big a deal. You're not that big a deal. Ask the law. I could give you a list as long as my arm of places that you could go that nobody cares who you are. Because you got the same problem as the guy. I wish him well. Now, the other thing, let's roll this all in. 14 games in the NHL Thursday night. Toronto Maple Leafs were officially eliminated from the playoffs for the first time since 2016. They lost 4-1 to San Jose, but I mean, everybody beats them. We all saw that coming. Okay, I'm done with that. The Vegas Golden Knights had their way with the Calgary Flames. That was one of 12 correct picks that I had. I said this didn't need to be close. It wasn't close. 6-3. The Golden Knights beat the Flames in the Fortress. How long does the torch train run? Choo-choo. I hope all the way to the Stanley Cup. I really do. I told you, don't give up on the Golden Knights. You didn't listen. It's okay. I'm used to it. But aside from all of that, there's always going to be games. The biggest talk in hockey right now is the Tkachuk Brothers podcast, Wingmen. I'll get to your comments, everybody, in a second. Hang on. Who didn't see trouble coming when the Tkachuk Brothers thought it would be a good idea to start their own podcast? Tell me if I'm wrong. I don't think it's affiliated with Barstool or DraftKings or FanDuel. It doesn't matter. And they brought their dad on, Keith, and it was just a conversation of three guys sitting around, a hockey dad, NHL alum, and his two boys talking hockey, but it caused a hell of a lot of problems. Keith Tkachuk, who's always been very loquacious and shoots from the hip. He always has, not changing. Basically called his kids' teammates soft. From the clip that I saw, I don't watch the show. So the poll question today is, should the Tkachuk brothers have a podcast? I can tell you very quickly, the first poll reporting, 75% of people saying, yeah, why not? Now it's down to 50-50. That doesn't surprise me either. I guess as a guy who's been working independently in sports for a very long time, yeah, why shouldn't they be able to? But why I'm sitting here talking to you like this and we own the show is because the leagues and the teams don't quite see it that way. So they would vote no. So in 2006, when I started the website rodpedersen.com, 40 million plus hits later, still chugging, but the PR guy with the pro football team I was with said, you're the last guy that should have a blog. I didn't understand it then. I still don't understand now. I'm not making anybody look bad. I'm not saying anything bad. What do you want? So it morphs into 2026 now in the Tkachuk Brothers podcast and causing some problems, and maybe they don't care. We'll see how this all ends up. But the poll is brought to you by Country Thunder. Maybe that's a bell-worthy ringing announcement. Get ready for one of the biggest parties of the summer. Country Thunder returns to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th, 2026, featuring Lainey Wilson, Riley Green, and Creed, plus an incredible lineup, including the Dead South, Gavin Adcock, Cameron Whitcomb, and more. Don't miss out. Get your tickets now, countrythunder.com/SK. It's ringing in my ears. Just why I have zero problem talking about the Tiger Woods issue is because I've been in those shoes as a guy who entered recovery. So when I walked into the first 12-step meeting, guess what they said? We don't care who you are. We don't care. So that's why I'm saying it. And I hope Tiger gets that. I don't know. I didn't get whisked away to another country for mine, I'll tell you that. But I'm also not Tiger Woods. I appreciate that. Hey, Vancouver Eric writes in. Thank you, Eric. He says, hey, RP, currently the Florida Panthers have a chance at the number 1 overall pick in the NHL draft. Wow. Oh, I know. Which, I don't know if you were watching earlier this week, Eric. I brought that up. The other night, what game was it here? It was when Ottawa stunk it out here on Tuesday. I was sitting there in between periods talking with Randy Moeller. Oh, my God, is he's so funny. And he didn't even try to be. He's one of those guys that's funny without trying to be funny, which there's a Vegas tie-in to that, and I'll get to that in a second. But I said, hey, Moles, what do you think about everybody saying the Panthers are tanking to get the number 1 pick? He's like, it's just fans. And it's not being dismissive to the fan, but nobody credible is accusing the Panthers of doing anything nefarious, which is all. I'm glad you brought that up, Vancouver Eric, by the way, because they dressed a flippin' minor league team last night against the Boston Bruins and won 2-1. Vintage Sergei Bobrovsky. And we talked about this last 28 saves in the victory for Bob. And he stood, I was from me to you away from Bob last night as he goes, I'm living the dream. We didn't even ask him, how you feeling, Bob? He brought it up himself. I'm living the dream. I'm playing in the NHL, starting goaltender, playing Florida Panthers. I don't know how my French accent got in that, but it's really positive here. Culture wins. And that's why people are trying to throw shade at the Panthers with what Keith Tkachuk said. You can't affect the Panthers culture. You can't. Okay, culture wins. And they won last night. A lot of it had to do with Sergei Bobrovsky, but as I've been saying here all today and most of the week, I'm just trying to keep it positive because I'm a positive guy, and what I'm seeing is gross. Social media and just people talking about stuff they shouldn't and they don't know. And yeah, people, I've been ready for the weekend since Monday. It's why Tiger Woods, sorry, he's on my brain. It's why the Tiger King carried a gun. People. Not because of tigers. Okay. Hang on. I'm just looking at all the viewers' comments here. Dan in Winnipeg writes in and says, will the Winnipeg Jets make the wild card this year? I don't know, brother. I don't know that. I think the only one that knows that is God. Ask him, and I'll get you. I don't think he'll answer you. Dan says, hey, Rod, who do you think will win the Stanley Cup this year? I'm going to say Vegas, Tampa. But I might remind you, I'm not exactly promoting this, but I did say going into the season it would be a Winnipeg, Carolina Stanley Cup final. As my mom would say, wouldn't that be a trick? It's 111. I think it's very gong-worthy for that. It's 111 for the live viewers, 11 Eastern, 11:11 Mountain. Listen, do me a favor. Envision the you that you want to be and live there. Watch everybody catch up. Thank me later. Producer Corey writes in and says, God would need one hell of a switchboard operator to handle that client load. If everybody was calling God for sports picks, can you imagine? Okay. 902-518-3033. Kevin the Medium tells you that they are not in the sports betting business in that field. Everybody's writing in with their UFL picks. I love it so much. Oh, the warm-up is brought to you by Neil Chark, Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the official travel partners of the RP Show, and the BC Lions of the Canadian Football League. Calling all Canadian sports fans, join Uniglobe Carefree's own Neil Chark for an action-packed weekend in Toronto, August 14th to the 17th, staying right in the heart of the city. 2 big-time baseball games, Toronto versus New York at Rogers Centre, Friday, Saturday, and the Sunday, a Canadian Pro Football League game. Doesn't get much better than that. Sask at Hamilton. It's an easy, fun, and stress-free way to experience the best of Canadian sports in all in one unforgettable weekend. Connect with Neil at uniglobecarefreetravel.com. Watch Saskatchewan and Hamilton in a rematch of the 2013 Grey Cup and the 1989 Grey Cup and the 1972 Grey Cup. See how we do this? We're only at 0.3 of the Quick Six show topic, so we'll have to finish this up later. But UFL Week 2, we do our picks for the UFL. It's brought to you by Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn. Come early, stay late. DC at Columbus. That's on your tube tonight. Week 2 kicking off in the UFL. Kevin and I made our picks. We've both got DC to win tonight. We're big DSC backers. The other games are Louisville at Orlando, Birmingham at Houston, and Corey Chamberlain's St. Louis Battlehawks at Dallas. Follow our social media for our picks and make your own. Write in with them. I'm not going to keep track of yours. Our guest is brought to you by Prairie Panels. Prairie Panels is a Saskatchewan-based company specializing in high-quality construction panels and engineered building solutions, whether it's for agricultural buildings, shop construction, or commercial projects. Prairie Panels brings innovative, durable products backed by local expertise. If you're looking for building materials you can trust, from steel panels to structural solutions, be sure to check them out at prairiepanels.ca. They present our guest every day, and it's Mike Davis next. I'll tee Mike up. He broke the news 3 weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, that the Raiders were going to sign Kirk Cousins. On Thursday, they did. I'm not going to ask him how he knew, but I'm just telling you, you better be paying attention to what's said on this show, because our guys know what's going on. And we'll be talking IFL, UFL, CFL, and, of course, NFL when we come back with the great Mike Davis. As they say, in Vegas, the man. We'll be right back. You're watching the RP Show across Canada and 33 states on Game Plus Television, and across Nevada here on Silver State Sports.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back, everybody. The RP Show's Rod Squad newsletter, by the way, is free. It's brought to you by Suds Full Service Car Wash. Fuel your fleet's finesse with Suds Regina's unbeatable cleaning packages. They'll shine like new every time. Visit sudsregina.com. Be the first place I go when I get back to the Queen City this summer. Okay, you heard it, Mike Davis. You're our football insider. We didn't make a big deal out of it. A couple of weeks ago, you broke the news. Kirk Cousins was going to the Raiders. You knew something, my dog. So you weren't shocked when you heard the news Thursday, obviously.
Not at all. I mean, if you do your research, it only makes sense. Like, people forget that Cousins and Kubiak were together in Minnesota from 19 to 21. You know, Cousins blew up. People look at what's happened with rookie quarterbacks. Anybody who's taken a quarterback in the first round in the last, I don't even know how long you go back, the head coach has never made it out of the season. Like, think about it. Tennessee, like all the past in the last 3 or 4 years, anybody who's had a first round quarterback, their head coach has not made it out of the season if that kid had to start from game one. And so they're going to set the kid up for success. Hey, if you can get Kirk Cousins to come in and groom him for a year or two, all you've done is add 8 starters in free agency for the Raiders. You know, they've secured up the offensive line. They got some weapons on defense. It makes total sense.
Yeah, but Mike, don't come on here and talk logic, because nobody ever does. Nobody does their research, especially not in the media. And so, yeah, you guys as coaches must sit back and see what the media says and Do you laugh or do you get angry? And I'm talking CFL, NFL, IFL, whatever. Nobody does their research in our business. You know that.
It's comical. Obviously, I know people on the inside. I know a lot of people in the business, and everybody was banking on it. Like, there's no way. The whole Rams report a week ago. Oh, we're interested in coming out to be a backup for Matt Stafford. No, you're not. Kirk Cousins is not doing that. Like, he's trying. Literally, you got to give credit. I don't know who the guy's agent is. I should have looked it up before I got on here, but he's got to go down as the best agent in the history of the NFL. I mean, the guy's made more money than Tom Brady right now. Guaranteed money, $341 million.
And one squat.
Yeah. I mean, and won one playoff game.
Okay, well, I can't imagine what it's like sitting there in Vegas with the hype, with the number one overall pick. I mean, our viewers are getting into it, and they're all over North America. And you get it. Like, people are wondering if Fernando Mendoza is all that. You mentioned like a month or so ago that you would trade that pick if you were them. Like, how big of a gamble is it taking this guy?
Well, now you have a franchise quarterback that you don't need to put all your eggs in one basket with Mendoza. I'm still sticking with my theory. They're not going to trade the pick. Let me just tell you that. Like, Vegas would be in an uproar if that's the case, right? But do you know how many people are looking for Mendoza and would give you a haul for that pick? I mean, you're probably getting two first rounders, a second rounder. I mean, and players. Like, you literally could revamp the whole team and go from maybe a player, maybe a good team, to a playoff caliber team overnight. And I think they've close to have done that in free agency. But I'm still trading the pick. I'm getting a haul of picks because at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out next year, who's in the draft next year? You get the Arch Manning, the everything else. I mean, it's crazy.
Mike Davis joining us from the Vegas Nighthawks. We'll come back to the NFL, but there are several other leagues to get to, and our viewers love Mike's knowledge on all of them. Your club, 1-1. I mean, it was just a few weeks ago. You're in training camp. You guys don't fool around, man. You're busy. Tell us about your season so far. You're on a bye this week?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're on a bye. We played in Tucson last week, won 63-42. 1-1 on the season. Just scratching the surface. We're super young, but for us, what I do like about this league is you basically get 9 or 10 days of training camp and you go right into game prep, right? CFL, you have 4 weeks, 2 preseason games, 4 to 5 weeks of training camp, and it makes it hard. You run the daylights out of guys, and most rookies don't have a chance to recover.
I'm looking at the comments. I'm not ignoring you. Chris,
no, you're fine.
Yeah, Chris writes in with a K, says, Coach D, hashtag the standard is the standard. Is that your hashtag, Coach? Is that your slogan?
Absolutely not. It's a running joke. Some people in other leagues say that, and their teams have struggled. And I joke with that guy. He's a huge Orlando Pirates fan. He does a podcast on Saturdays, like an indoor podcast with some guys on the Shady Sports Network, and it's funny. It's a bunch of guys who follow diehard indoor guys. Kind of like it's a sports guy on a smaller scale than you, right? But these guys, we play the Orlando in March or May 16th in New Jersey, and so that's his big. He's anxious for that. So they got They got to worry about getting through to there before they get to us.
Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes that he says, you're going to repeat, Mike Davis. You got a fan in Calgary, and Jeff, the Stamps fan. How is this year's team compared to last year's IFL championship team, in your mind? You would know. You're the guy.
I think we're more athletic. We're not as knowledgeable as we were last year. Like, obviously, when you have 13 guys signed in the CFL and UFL, like that's a lot of talent. I think we're younger. We are younger. We might be more athletic. We might not be as tough yet on the D line and the O line because those, obviously, we got 2 guys from there in the CFL and stuff like that will probably be starters in Toronto, and you love the youth movement, right? The 1-year contracts. Hey, fine. I joke with people like, turn and burn them. How many guys can we get in? How many guys can we help get out of here and move it to the next season?
Well, yeah, absolutely. They want to talk about the UFL too. We can We can certainly switch over to that. But I just have one thing about the indoor. You went up to Green Bay in week 1. You literally and figuratively got trapped in the blizzard. What is it like being a career football guy like yourself, not having to worry about the elements on game day? That must be a dream.
Well, it is. It's heaven. But that's also why I chose to get in the booth in the CFL. You get a Saskatchewan winter one time, you're like, I'm not sure about all this. So it's nice being climate controlled in the booth and make calls from up top.
To the UFL, are you able to talk about it for days now that your season started? Because your focus is on are you still following the UFL as intently as you were leading up to your training camp?
Yeah, I still follow it. I mean, I have a bunch of friends that are head coaches there. I have a bunch of players. Like we have 2 players that are playing tonight in Columbus, Adam Plant Jr. and Trayvon Jones, a DB and a pass rusher. So yeah, I still follow it just because you want to know who's playing well and who somebody's going to make a bonehead mistake and cut a good player, and you might have a need.
Mm-hmm. Well, we are heading into week 2. It's DC at Columbus tonight. Is there an emerging clear favorite of a team here in the UFL, even going into the season that we knew that was proven coming out of week 1?
I think DC and Orlando would be if I had to pick, would be the 2 favorites. Obviously AJ McCarron and Tyler Liskey and all them in Birmingham, they have the pedigree, to do what they need to do. And they came back and had a barn burner, to get a win, their first win and stuff like that last week. But I think it's too early to tell. Obviously you need a couple weeks to kind of figure out who you are as a team and what teams really are, get through some battle of attrition, see how guys get banged up and how can guys stay healthy. And then you really see people stretch their legs and make some grade.
Vegas Nighthawks head coach and GM Mike Davis is with us. By the way, it was just yesterday that we had, he's got his little man there, the next baller. He can hear me talking. Just yesterday, we had Jamie Heward on from the Henderson Silver Knights. And if I'm not mistaken, he would have been just across the building from you, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday. Yeah. Can you talk about how you guys share that? I think we got everybody turned on now to these Vegas sports. Explain the dichotomy in your building of the teams, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so this is home for the Nighthawks, right? Like we practice out of here, that my office is in here, things like that. The beautiful thing about Bill Foley and the sports world is the Golden Knights have City National Arena in Summerlin, right beside Red Rock Arena. The Silver Knights, they built them another arena in Henderson. It's called America's First, and they call it AFC. And that's where they are all the time, right? Like obviously they have a game here tonight, so they'll morning skate at AFC, and then they'll move everything over for their game tonight. They play a back-to-back tomorrow, so they'll come in here and they'll morning skate in here in the morning. And on the weekends, like when they have back-to-backs, I just work from home, right? Like we have a great relationship. Hami's hilarious, obviously being a Saskatchewan guy. So we joke around about it and just with the weather and what it's like night and day. But they're doing fantastic, right? They've struggled a couple of years. They finally got a good young nucleus and they're trying to climb into that 4th spot to get a home playoff game or a home playoff series. But they're going to be in the playoffs. It'll be the first time since we've been here that they've been in the playoffs. So it's exciting times.
For those that just tuned in, Vegas Nighthawks Indoor Football League head coach and GM Mike Davis is with us. We're talking about their neighbors, the Henderson Silver Knights of the American Hockey League. I don't know if Jamie, Huey told you that we've known each other since we were 16, going back a real long ways. It was nice to get him on the air here yesterday. From just before they got NFL questions, and I get it, but I want to ask you, because I'm curious, how long does it take to flip the building from a hockey game to get ready to host a football game that you guys play?
They get it literally, Rod. It's crazy. They can get it done in like 4 hours. Like literally, hockey's done, and they put the boards down over the covers over the ice, and out comes the turf. Down,
and that's all they got to do.
The turf's coming out. While the turf's coming out, the walls, the plexiglass comes off, and they got a group doing the turf and a group doing the plexiglass, and it's a well-oiled machine. They just,
God bless America, baby. Arlen Bruce the third writes in. He says, "Great day, RP. The IFL is very entertaining. to watch on Yahoo Sports. My son did his thing last week with 2 touchdowns. This weekend, they play Sunday in Indiana. Let's go, AB the fourth, number 10. Nighthawks aside, is Arlen Bruce the fourth the best player in the league?
No, but he's a talent. Is he the best player in the league? No.
Who is the best player in the league?
I guess it all depends on who you ask, right? I mean, he's a top 3 or 4 receiver in the league, but you got to remember, so Arlen Bruce, he was hurt the majority of last year, right? He went to Arizona. Their first game, he has 2 touchdowns. He's in an offense that will help him. He had a great, the kid looks like he's gotten a little faster this offseason, so he's healthy. So it just depends on who you like, right? Like if you like a scattier receiver, he'd be in the top 2 or 3, right? If you want a big receiver, it just depends on what you consider the best player. I think could he play outdoors? Absolutely. That's how I rate him, right? Like in this league right now, there's probably 40 guys that could play in the CFL or UFL. He'd be one of them.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised that he isn't already.
Talent,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's the problem with second chance guys is people get stuck on why they need a second chance, and it's unfortunate. We don't live this world. I try to tell our guys all the time, like we don't live in this world for I had a checkered past. Everybody's made mistakes in their whole life. If we're judged on that, none of us will be where we're at, us two included, right? So I think people need to get out of their own way, right? Like you look in the CFL and you have guys who, and this is not a knock on the CFL. Let me preface this before I get in trouble. You've had guys who've have domestic issues before the CFL, and because somebody really wanted them, got them in the CFL, right? You've had guys that have been in the CFL, gotten in trouble, stayed in the CFL because somebody wanted them. If somebody wants you and will go to bat for you, it's very easy for people to turn a blind eye. But if you're just trying to get in and make your own way, it's darn near impossible. Like you always have to have somebody going for bat for you. And that's what is really frustrating about all the leagues. UFL, CFL, NFL, like we all need second chances. And if you give kids a second chance and they truly cherish it, the sky's the limit. Arlen Bruce is one of them.
That's what that's what we're waiting on with him. Yeah, continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, so obviously not trying to put the kids like the same issue he had in college. I have his teammate that was on the same issue, and it's the same thing. Like people well, how good is he? Blah 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 blah. What just give the kid a chance. Like don't crucify him for something they were young and dumb and made a mistake.
And it was betting. Everybody. So we're talking about it would do a white-collar crime if there was ever a thing. And that's the CFL was built on players like that. And maybe in the time we have left here, which is about 4 to 5 minutes, that's what one of the things that bothers me about the CFL right now. How do you bar a guy? Oh, my God. Wasn't even in your league that he committed this betting scandal. But the one thing that I saw coming out of the league, out of the CFL this week, was Chad Kelly ready to come back and lead the Argos. And I don't want you specifically to address Chad Kelly, but I wonder have they been rated to the point that, they missed the playoffs last year, man. The worst team in the league. Like, what do you see coming back in the CFL here in 2026 for everybody?
You look at what people have done in free agency, and I think there's that again, the 1-year contracts, Rob, we talk about all the time. Like, there's a ton of parity. I don't think there's a bottom feeder, so to speak. Like you look at what people have done, I think, and you got to give them his props, even Barker and Mike Kelly, like what they've done with the Argos. Now time will tell, but the influx of young talent that they've gotten are good, It all depends on who shows up.
Yeah, well, everybody's optimistic now, as you know. And you're right. They haven't even opened camp yet. So everybody thinks they got the team. And I'll tell you this, the last thing is your boys, if I can call them your boys, we're just through here in Fort Lauderdale. But there he is. Is he a Rider fan, that little man? You can bring him on. There he is, the baller. Or is he more of a Nighthawks fan? You going to have him wearing green?
He'll see the team and be like, hey, that's Daddy's team, but he knows like he's been to a Rider game. Like obviously, his first sporting event was the Stanley Cup Game 5 when they won the Stanley Cup. So I mean, the kid is spoiled rotten.
He's living a charmed existence, absolutely, as he just makes his TV debut. But the Riders were just through here, and we have 2 minutes, and they're optimistic. They should be. They said we've kept all the guys that we wanted to keep. You know how it is in free agency. I think they have a reason to be optimistic coming back. They should.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, I think that, J.O. and Kyle and company have done a really good job. Mace is got the team believing, and that's the biggest thing, right? Belief is contagious, right? When you have a belief and a swagger that they end up catching, would they lose 2 or 3 in a row, and then they caught that, they just flipped the switch, got the swagger and the belief back, and they kind of ran through the playoffs. And, it's so contagious, and then guys feed off of that. You get into the offseason and guys like, no, I need a little more of that. And so they've gotten the guys they wanted. They've gotten a couple guys in free agency, and it all depends on how guys, a year older, you don't heal as fast. So what are you doing to counteract that and stay healthy?
Jeff, the Stamps fan, says if you're raising your kid a Rider fan, that's child abuse. That's from a Stamps fan. That's all I'll say. All right, Mike. Hey, thanks for this, man.
He's in Vegas. It's okay.
Yeah, he's a Nighthawks fan. Exactly. All right. Okay, man. Thanks for this. I appreciate the time as always. And go Nighthawks, man. Hope to talk to you in a week.
Rod, appreciate it. See you next week.
All right, Mike Davis, the head coach and general manager of the IFL's Vegas Nighthawks. 5 years with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. That's where we got to know each other and stayed great friends. Rob Swallow joins us next, my good friend and children's book author. Still crying, I'm sure, about his Bruins getting their asses handed to him here last night in Sunrise. We'll find out right back on right after this.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
RP Show on Silver State Sports, brought to you in part by Outlaw Communications and Game Plus TV as well. Tony Plater, Outlaw Communications, where creativity is a way of life, specializing in strategic communications, leadership training, and clear conversational content that motivates your audience. My good friend Rob Swallow joins us. When I lined up this interview, I forgot it was Good Friday. I thought you might be at work. That's why I asked if your bosses would be okay with it, Robbie. So happy Good Friday to you, my man. Let's jump right into Boo and the Boy, because that's why you're here. I'm sure you have a copy of it in front of you, and then we'll talk about your Bruins getting their asses handed to them last night by Bob here in Sunrise.
Yeah, I'm still not getting on over that one yet, Roddy. Yeah, Boo and the Boy. So it's a children's book, a children's series book that I wrote, and kind of inspired by my life in rural Saskatchewan and growing up on a farm in Saskatchewan, and the kind of the adventures that I got into with my dog Boo, who is a border collie. And the first book was the Coyote Encounter. So in that one day me and my dog are going for a walk and go by the barn door and have a peek inside. He starts barking, and I open the door a little bit, look in, and geez, there's a coyote that's sick with mange staring back at me, and I'm probably 4 or 5 years old. So a little freaked out, but ran back to the farmhouse and told Dad, and he went and took care of him and took care of that coyote. But so yeah, just using that memory, I kind of told those stories to my kids and used that as bedtime stories, and then just thought, hey, why don't I try to turn these into some children's books and share them with other people?
Have you got a copy of the books in front of you? Can you hold them up to the camera? And show
we got one here, the Coyote Encounter, and then the second one is Lost in the Bale. So like most kids, in rural Saskatchewan, growing up on the farm, jumping on round bales, going across the bales. One day I fell in between them and got a little scared. And of course, Boo was there to kind of help me out and show me the way through. So that's what that story is inspired by too. Just the imagination adventure that you could have on a farm. So the response from the books has been fantastic. A lot of different teachers have bought it, and they said that the kids really enjoy it. They really connect with the characters, and yeah, it's just been a lot of fun to create these stories.
Well, I love it. That's your upbringing sounds about identical to mine, of course. So for those that are looking for a different alternative to these children's books and bedtime stories, how can they get their hands on these books, Rob?
Yeah, thanks, Rob. Yeah, so I self-published through Amazon. So if you go on Amazon and if you search The Adventures of Boo and the Boy, they'll come up. It's available in the United States and Canada, all around the world, just with the publishing that Amazon does. So yeah, you can check it out there. Also have a little Facebook page that I got going on too, where people can find out more information, kind of the stories behind the stories. And so if you, again, just search The Adventures of Boo and the Boy, and it'll pop up there.
The Adventures of Boo and the Boy. Are you going to venture off into some sports stories in these books?
Well, I might have to, yeah. Sports is always a big part of growing up on the farm and skating on sloughs and that sort of thing. So yeah, it'd be pretty easy to incorporate some sports into one of these stories in the future for sure.
Well, you and I were texting last night. Your Bruins were here taking on the Florida Panthers. I can just visualize it now. You'll have Sergei Bobrovsky as some villain in your next book. Are you already thinking about that?
Oh, definitely, yeah. My son was a little upset last night as their inability to score. And yeah, so yeah, there's lots of villains out there. And even Brad Marchand leaving the Bruins to going to the Panthers too. You could be a bit of a villain as well. So maybe a different line of children's stories to come.
Well, we only have like 90 seconds. It's a quick segment, but how far do you see the Bruins going this year? They've overachieved in my mind.
Yeah, they've definitely overachieved. And, I think they're playing a lot of tough games right now. That playoff race in the East is so tough right now. So, if they get in, they'll be in tough probably against Tampa or Carolina. So, but they've been they've been fighting for their lives so far. So would be surprised if they can maybe make an upset in the first round and go from there. But yeah, it'll be a tough slug for sure.
Did they do much at the trade deadline? I don't feel like they did.
No, they didn't. Just some minor moves, some minor league players. They picked up somebody from Vancouver, but yeah, and they really haven't tinkered their roster at all. And they seem to be getting healthy now. Charlie McAvoy's playing fantastic hockey right now, and Fraser Minton, the guys they picked up last year at the trade deadline, they're really coming into their own, and it'll be a great experience for them heading into the playoffs. And it looks pretty positive for the Bruins going forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, this guy I'm interviewing is such a Bruins fan. He named his son after Charlie McAvoy. Am I right?
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know if we named it exactly after Charlie McAvoy, but it worked out pretty well, especially when Charlie Coyle was on the team too. They had the two Charlies, and we did name our dog after Tuukka Rask, though. So our dog's name is Tuukka. So
I love it. All right. Thanks for coming on, Rob. Good luck. The Adventures of Boo and the Boys. Search it on Amazon or Facebook, as Rob says, and enjoy the weekend with your wonderful friends and family.
Thanks, RP. Thanks for having me on, buddy.
A broadcaster by trade turned children's book author, Rob Swallow. Everybody, we'll be right back with our final sports update and tonight's NHL picks right after this. Silver State Sports and Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, Great prices and that friendly moose jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, welcome back, everybody, on this exciting weekend. Good Friday today. Going to have family around. You've enjoyed the show. Why don't we all do something fun this weekend and head on down to Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary? If you're in Calgary, Southern Alberta area, you're looking for something to do, you got family around, you're sick of the kids, come on. Drop into Overtime Hockey Lanes and let Randy and Michelle take care of them there. It's an amusement park for hockey players. As I say, they can spend all day for one low price. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. Whether you're working on your game or just want to have some fun, that is the place to go. Laverne writes in from the Frontier City regarding our interview there with Mike Davis. He says, hey, RP and Mike, will the Las Vegas Raiders be patient with Mendoza? Now that Cousins is signed, it seems management always wants to play these young guys. Is it pressure from the owners? Your thoughts? Well, number one, man, I got the best friends. Mike Davis being one of them. We were on the phone just shooting the fat, as my mom would say. And I was telling him that Barker had to dip because of pressures. And Mike was like, I'll do it. I'm like, well, you're in, Mike Davis. And then number two, that's why I get so sick of all the bunk and crap going around on social media. Because I know for a fact these people that are saying the things that they say don't know anything. And when Mike Davis a couple of weeks ago said, I hear the Raiders are going to sign Cousins. Ding. Why didn't I turn that into a meme? That's on me. But anyway, he knew. Maybe and you're asking the question, are they going to be patient with Mendoza? Well, if you're following what's going on in Vegas with the Raiders, which I am for a variety, I'm following what's going on everywhere, just not the space shuttle. They don't want to play Mendoza in year one if they don't have to. And that's the whole reason why they brought in Kirk Cousins. So the Las Vegas Raiders, you ask if the owners are pushing. It sounds like to me, because I don't care who you are, if you're a billionaire owner or a hobo on the street, it doesn't feel good to have people laughing at you and joking about you. I feel like Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, has taken his hands off the wheel and said, here, you guys, those owners don't typically do that, but some do. The good ones do. Let the GM and the coach do the football things. So for that reason, I don't think the owners are pushing that at all. They're going to draft Mendoza, probably have an open competition in training camp. That's what I would do. But if Kirk Cousins is better, which we all think that he would be, he'll be starting in week one. And let the kid learn. Very, very, very smart move by the Raiders to sign Kirk Cousins for a team that does not have a history of making smart moves. So that's what tells me that the owners don't have anything to do with what's going on with the Raiders right now. Tom Brady aside, that's different. Thank you, Jeff the Stamps fan, for my NASA updates. He writes in, he says, update from NASA. The Orion spacecraft is currently somewhere between the moon and New York City. Perfect. And that's, by the way, here's the thing. It's not like I'm not interested in it. I've told this story before. I was at NASA, and they told me that you couldn't be over the 5'7", male or female, to be an astronaut. Oh, okay. That was in 2019. I feel like that's not that long ago. And then I happened to be with an astronaut here in South Florida. Mark Pathy's his name. You can look him up. And I said, you're awfully tall for an astronaut. And he's like, what's that supposed to mean? Oh, they told me at NASA that you couldn't be more than 5'7". He goes, nah, it's not a thing anymore. I can't keep up, is the point of the story. I got enough to keep up with. And you guys want me to get into the World Cup of soccer? I don't have time. I got to figure out what's going on with a space shuttle. And all these other leagues, 12 of 14 on picks last night in the NHL. Not a big deal. I think most nights were over 50%, but we crushed it last night in the NHL. What I had wrong was I picked the Panthers to lose, and they won. Philadelphia at the Islanders tonight. The two teams, I'm the first table hockey set I ever had. When I see that matchup, that's what I think. Philadelphia Flyers at the New York Islanders. Who wins? The Islanders. They got embarrassed at home the last time against Pittsburgh. They won't allow it to happen again. St. Louis at Anaheim. One thing that has not changed is the motivation of teams after losses. Anaheim's coming off a loss, I believe it's to San Jose. They're still in the fight, in that pillow fight of the Pacific Division. And the Blues have nothing to play for but pride. Now, that's still a thing. Trust me, that's still a thing. But I think Anaheim will win tonight over them. So Anaheim and the Islanders to win tonight. For instance, the Florida Panthers aren't playing for anything but pride. But they had their way with Boston. Well, Bob won the game, but still. And they destroyed Ottawa here the other night. So that's the one thing, is you can't come in and overlook non-playoff teams. But as we say, culture wins, and the Florida Panthers culture is just out of control good. That's why, their poll question, I haven't brought it up this hour, is should the Kachucks have a podcast? Because it's caused all kinds of problems in Ottawa. The results like 50-50, brought to you by our friends at Country Thunder. 50-50, should the Kachucks have a podcast? There ain't nothing Matthew Tkachuk, well, forget about Matthew, he plays here, that Brady Tkachuk could say or Keith Tkachuk would say that would affect this dressing room in Florida. Ottawa, different story, however. I voted, yeah, they should have a podcast, just like Rod should have a show. Not everybody agrees. And that's what makes it so much fun. Oh, and by the way, the NCAA Frozen Four coming your way. When I say your way, Vegas. And Sean Hogan will be with us, the executive director of College Hockey Inc., next Tuesday to promote the Final Four in U.S. men's college hockey. That's one of the guests. It's going to be a fantastic week here on the RP Show. So enjoy the sports, everybody, but more than anything, enjoy each other. And above all, be good to yourselves, because I can guarantee you, if you don't, nobody else will. Thank you to Kevin the Medium. Thank you to Mike Davis. Thank you to Rob Swallow. Thank you to the crew at Skycron, producer Corey, and we'll see you Monday here on the RP Show, Silver State Sports and Game Plus TV.
That.